She's lying completely still when out of nowhere, her blanket shifts like something underneath is pushing it up. At first you think maybe it's just her moving, but then the blanket lifts higher and higher until it looks like someone invisible is standing over her. She doesn't wake up, she doesn't even flinch, and that's what makes it terrifying. It's happening around her, not because of her. Then there's the moment where he's dragged straight down his bed. You can see his feet sliding first, then his whole body getting pulled like a rope is tied around him, except there's nothing there. He's wide awake, fighting, grabbing at the sheets, and still he keeps moving. That kind of strength doesn't come from nothing, and you can hear him breathing harder, panicking, almost like he already knows it isn't going to stop. The strangest part comes later. She's fast asleep, but her body begins to sit up slowly, like she's a puppet being pulled by invisible strings. Her head tilts back unnaturally. Her arms hang loosely at her sides, and the way she sways is nothing like normal sleepwalking. Every few seconds, her body twists into positions you couldn't hold while awake. Watching it feels wrong, like something else is inside the room controlling her every move. And it doesn't end there. At exactly 3 a.m., the camera catches what looks like her body lifting just inches off the bed. Not bouncing, not rolling, levitating. You can see the gap forming between her and the mattress as her hair starts to fall back like gravity has shifted. The room is dead silent except for this low hum, almost like static interference. And that's when everything feels too real to dismiss as a trick. Her breathing changes right before it happens. You can hear on the audio, slow, steady, then suddenly sharp and uneven, like she's gasping for air in her sleep. The blanket that was lying flat on her chest starts to ripple, as if someone invisible pressed a hand down on her. She doesn't move on her own, but the mattress shifts, dipping on one side like an unseen weight just sat next to her. It's subtle at first, but the camera doesn't lie. There's a pressure there that isn't supposed to exist. He, on the other hand, is wide awake when it hits, lying on his back, phone in hand, scrolling like any normal night. When his legs jerk suddenly toward the end of bed, he freezes, stares, then tries to sit up, but his whole body slides a full foot across the mattress. You can hear the sheets dragging, the sound of fabric straining, and his voice breaks as he shouts. What's terrifying is that his hands grip the headboard, and still he's pulled again, like something far stronger is locked onto him. The strangest detail? Right before that, his lamp flickered 3 times in perfect rhythm. Not random, not a loose bulb. It blinked, paused, blinked, paused, blinked. Exactly 3 times, like some kind of signal. Seconds later, he's being dragged across the bed. Coincidence? Or something warning him before it began? But it's her video that stays in your head the longest. She's lying sideways, asleep, when her body arches unnaturally, like her spine is bending in ways that don't make sense. Her arms rise slowly without her lifting them, suspended in the air as if pulled by strings no one can see. Her head falls back, her mouth opens, but no sound comes out. For nearly 30 seconds, she looks weightless, controlled, and then, just as suddenly, she collapses flat on the bed like nothing happened. The room is silent again, except for one detail most people miss the first time. On the wall behind her, a shadow shifts. It doesn't match her body, it doesn't match the furniture, and it moves against the direction of the only light in the room. It's there for a split second, stretching longer and darker before vanishing entirely. And every single one of these recordings happened at almost the exact same time. 3 a.m., not 2:59, not 3:02. Cameras, clocks, and phones all lining up perfectly to that single minute. Some call it the devil's hour, others call it a glitch in our reality. But either way, none of these people have been able to sleep through the night since. One of the most disturbing clips comes from a man who set up a night vision camera after weeks of strange activity. At first, the footage looks calm, he's asleep, the room is silent, but then the closet door slowly creaks open on its own. Not all at once, not like a draft, but inch by inch, as though someone on the other side was pulling it deliberately. The door stops halfway, and for a moment, nothing happens. gap, a figure-shaped shadow shifts. You can clearly see the man still asleep in bed, but the shadow is taller, darker, and moving independently of anything else in the room. Seconds later, his body jolts upright. His eyes are open but completely blank, staring forward as if he's awake but not conscious. He doesn't speak, he doesn't scream. He just sits frozen with his mouth slightly open. His breathing grows louder, heavier, until his chest starts rising and falling like he's suffocating. The shadow in the closet vanishes instantly, and that's when he collapses back onto the mattress, shaking violently like he's being held down. Another case shows a woman who is known to sleepwalk occasionally, but what was captured that night goes way beyond sleepwalking. Around 2:58 a.m., she slowly gets out of bed and walks toward the corner of the room. Her movements are stiff, robotic, almost like she's resisting something while still being pushed forward. When she reaches a corner, she turns to face the camera directly, her eyes wide open, reflecting the light like glass. And then, without moving her lips, a low voice can be heard whispering, coming from a direction, but deeper and layered, almost like multiple voices speaking at once. The whisper cuts off at exactly 3 a.m., and she suddenly collapses to the floor, limp, like a puppet with its strings cut. Later, she swore she remembered nothing, but admitted she woke up with bruises on her arms in the shape of fingerprints, even though she lived completely alone. Perhaps the most chilling footage comes from a small apartment where two roommates claimed they felt watched every night. They set up cameras in both their bedrooms. At 3:01 a.m., one roommate's footage shows his blanket being ripped off his body and thrown violently against the wall. At the exact same moment in the other room, the second roommate begins levitating slowly, her body rising several inches off the bed. Both events caught on separate cameras. Both synced to the same second, and neither of them had any explanation for what happened. It's details like these that make people question whether they're watching fakes, or if these recordings are evidence of something we don't fully understand. When every clock, every device, and every unexplained event points to the same hour, the same forces, and the same terrifying patterns, it becomes harder and harder to dismiss.